So a Sony State of Play has officially been announced for this week, and it's being heavily rumored that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be at this event. So we're going to discuss in this video what we could potentially see from Rebirth at this State of Play, and we're also going to take a look at a very interesting quote from Nomura in regards to the evolution of Sephiroth in trying to bring him back to his original roots from the original Final Fantasy VII. So if any of that sounds cool to you, feel free to click the like button, and if you're new here and you'd like to stick around, you can subscribe. It is always appreciated, and of course we are exactly 1 month away from Rebirth, so the hype train just keeps on going along. We're still going to have a lot of Final Fantasy content here on this channel, and when the game comes out, I'm hoping to do a playthrough of it here on the channel, assuming my computer agrees with me and doesn't give me any technical issues. So starting off with this State of Play, we're going to go ahead and go to the PlayStation blog for a more detailed look at what we can expect from this event. So starting off, they say, join us January 31st for 40 minutes covering 15 plus games, including Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin. The broadcast will be over 40 minutes long and feature guest appearances from some of the most talented minds in gaming. Among many other updates, we'll feature extended looks at Stellar Blade and Rise of the Ronin, two great games coming to PS5 this year, and we'll give you a new look at other titles coming to PS5 and PSVR 2 in 2024 and beyond. So with over 15 games and a good chunk of this State of Play devoted to Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade, I don't think that leaves a ton of room for them to show off Rebirth, which leads me to believe that the trailer they show off for Rebirth at this event will probably be the game's launch trailer. And if you've been watching my channel for any period of time, you will know that I'm hoping and trying my best to avoid the launch trailer for Rebirth, because if we flash back to the launch trailer for 7 Remake, that trailer had a ton of story spoilers and big jaw-dropping moments shown in that trailer. And I remember that trailer coming out and everyone online was saying, do not watch this trailer, avoid it at all costs. So I avoided it. I played the game, I beat it, and then I watched the trailer after I finished the game, and I was shocked to see how many big jaw-dropping moments were in that trailer. And if I had seen that trailer before I played the game, those moments would have very little impact on me, or at least less impact than what I experienced playing through the game. So full spoiler alert here, the moment with Sephiroth and Barret was in that trailer. And when I experienced that playing through the game, my jaw literally dropped. I was stone-faced, I was quiet, I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna kill Barret. So had I seen that beforehand, I would have been like, Barret's gonna be fine. It wouldn't have had the impact. So I'm very cautious about tuning into this State of Play just for the fear of that launch trailer being what they show off at this event, because realistically, they're probably only gonna have maybe 2 to 3 minutes to show off games that aren't Rise of the Ronin or Stellar Blade, because this event is going to be full of a ton of games. So it's going to be kind of a weird situation watching this event and that new trailer pops up. I'm just really kind of hesitant because I don't want anything to get spoiled. Now, the other thing that leads credence to Rebirth being at this event is that this State of Play is taking place on January 31st, which is Wednesday, which is also the 27-year anniversary for Final Fantasy VII OG in Japan. So having those 2 days kind of coincide with one another, it would make sense for Rebirth to be there. And I also wouldn't be shocked if they shadow drop the demo. It could be a situation where they tell you during the event, like, hey, the demo is going to be available right now, or it's going to be available later tonight. So that really seems like the best timing possible to show off this demo. But other than that, I'm really curious to see what other games show up. Rise of the Ronin in particular has really caught my interest recently. I'm a big fan of Ghost of Tsushima, and this game kind of has like a similar spirit to a degree that Ghost of Tsushima had, but obviously much more influenced by things like Nier and maybe some of the other Souls type games that have come out. But seeing more of Rise of the Ronin is going to be super cool. It looks awesome. And of course, I really hope we get that demo for Rebirth so we can check it out here on the channel. Now we're going to jump on over to a different PlayStation blog where they sat down with Kitase and Nomura to talk about Rebirth, and we're going to pull from a specific moment from Nomura where they talk about the evolution of Sephiroth, comparing him from his original 3D roots in that polygonal chibi form to the latest iteration of him that we saw in that newer Destined for Rebirth trailer. So Nomura goes on to say, the evolution of the characters wasn't a sudden mutation. We've seen gradual changes over several spin-off titles and in Final Fantasy VII Remake itself, and they are evolving even further in 7 Rebirth. Of all the characters, Sephiroth in particular has appeared in multiple different games, with each appearance adding more layers of detail, making him that much deeper of a character. In a certain sense, we are seeing this evolved and in-depth portrayal of Sephiroth as him now returning to his roots in the Remake series. And so naturally, his presence will be much deeper and clearer than it was in the original. On the other hand, the fans have now a much greater knowledge and understanding of Sephiroth, so I hope the players can see the character's appeal even more strongly. And I really like that quote because it talks about the evolution of Sephiroth, and this is a character that's been around since 1997, so obviously there's going to be different iterations of the character, and having him show up in things like Advent Children or Kingdom Hearts or even Smash Brothers. And with each new appearance, they add something new to Sephiroth's character and his lore. And sometimes when you do that, it can kind of get a little out of hand. And I've talked about this exact comparison in a previous video where I liken Sephiroth to a horror movie villain, where you have this villain that starts off and they're super mysterious and there's not too much about their lore or who they are as a character. And then the more you see them, the more they show up, the less scary they kind of become depending on how they're depicted. I used Michael Myers as an example in that video, and I think another good example is someone like Freddy Krueger, who was this dream demon who showed up. He was kind of hard to look at, not because of the burn scars, but because of the way they lit him in the movies. He was purposely kept in the dark to remain this very shadowy, scary figure. And as more movies went on, you saw him in better lighting, he had more personality, he was cracking a ton of jokes and just kind of really putting himself out there. And you can argue that while it did add a new depth to the personality of Freddy Krueger, it took away a lot of the more mysterious, scary aspects of the character. And some people might make that comparison to Sephiroth, of how the more we see him, the less scarier he gets. So for them to take this Sephiroth that we know so well and kind of bring him back to his roots where he's now mysterious. It's like, yeah, we know about Sephiroth in these other games, but seeing his role in Remake and what's going to happen in Rebirth, he goes back to being that really kind of scary, mysterious character who is showing up a lot more. And when he does show up, that usually means something big is going to happen. It's going to go down. There's much more impact to what he says and what he does. And I think that's almost kind of like a nostalgia thing now, where we're going to bring Sephiroth back to kind of how he was in the original game. Even though he's showing up more, that mystique is now back in place and it's intact. And as they unravel new things about Sephiroth, that's what's going to be super interesting and keep the character feeling brand new and not kind of like a retread of what we might have seen before. So maybe consider the remake trilogy the new nightmare for Sephiroth, where they took Freddy Krueger, this character that got a little out of control and a little too pop culture-y and funny, and when they made the film Wes Craven's New Nightmare, they brought him back to being this scary dream demon. And I think that's what's going to happen with Sephiroth now, because when he shows up, I get kind of nervous. I get twists and turns in my stomach, and I'm not sure what he's going to do or what he's going to say or what different is going to happen with his role and what's going to happen in the story. So that is the video. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys expect to see from Rebirth at this state of play? Should Rebirth actually show up? And what are your thoughts on Sephiroth and how they're handling him in the remake trilogy so far? Do you think they're showing him up too much? Do you think they're changing too much? Do you think they're not changing enough? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below. I am Curious Corduroy. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.